Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Podcast. Today, we have a very interesting topic for you. Over time, people have been we've been seeing it in the social media spaces, what's up with Nigerian homes? Nigerian real estate is too expensive. Or is it really worth it? You see one small apartment, they'll call it so amount. It's not even like that overseas. I'd rather buy an apartment overseas than buy it in Nigeria harbor. So we, as a real estate firm, we decide to come together to give it to you as they ought, as we'll be giving it to you. So today, as usual, we have our humble guest, a bag of knowledge in person of Surveyor Akiwumi Aoyede. Welcome, sir.
Thanks so much for having
So today, we want you to use all your years of experience and knowledge to help us talk on this matter. The prices of Nigerian homes, are they really worth it? What is the big deal? Why? Why is that Nigerian homes, they have extravagant, ridiculous prices? And you'll be like, why? If I can get such kind of house here in Nigeria and maybe give and take, I won't pay more than, I won't really pay that much if I want to get it in other countries. So why Nigeria?
Okay. Thanks so much. I think it's a topic that has been generating so much interest online. I watched a couple of videos about one guy who has made himself an ambassador of this campaign. I don't know his name.
I think, is it Taiwo? I know.
Maybe part of them, but there's this one Igbo boy. He has bearded something like that.
I'm familiar with
He
Taiwo.
was the one that started this whole talk about it, and he was to some length. I could sit on the fence with him. Put one leg here, put one leg here, and I will explain. You see, any products or any market that has no control will be what Nigerian market is, where there is no price control. What does that mean? It means if I have this statue to sell today in Nigeria, in as much as I hold it, I can say this how much I want to sell it. And there's nobody that is going to kill me for doing that.
Definitely.
Okay, you could sell some products like cars, electronics, maybe a few of other equipment. I have some uniform price guide. You could say if I want to buy LG 42 inches in Ibadan, I could pay 100,000, 200,000. If I go to Lagos, maybe it's 130,000. That is still within the range. So that means nobody can just wake up one day and say, I want to sell an LG TV for 2 million. You will have to explain what is in your own LG TV. You see, real estate is a very, very dynamic industry. It's very dynamic in the sense that I will use the Nigerian market. Let me give you the background to everything that contributes to the pricing of a home. First is the cost of building the house themselves. Okay, maybe I should not go to the cost. Let's go to the origin, the land. That's the foundation of everything, right? Let me take Lagos Island, for example, because that is where the most of the conversation is sparking out from. Okay, Nigeria. Who is a Nigerian? A Nigerian is a person, a very successful Nigerian, for example, wants everything that he saw in New York or California in his home in Nigeria. Why does he want it in his home in Nigeria? Because of the climate, because of his family structure. He wants to have cars, he wants to have his truck, he wants to have his yard, he wants to have his garden, he wants to have everything in his Lagos home. And there's no problem with that. Okay, when you want to build this kind of house or houses, and that boils down to, I want to build a 2 billion naira house. I'll be very successful. I'm not going to go and build it in an area where the whole community will depend on me for survival. Security-wise, it's not safe. The mentality of the children you want to raise there. So, the moment you are thinking about some luxury and some kind of living standard in Nigeria, you're already narrowing your community choices. I can't build a 2 million naira house in 2 billion in money. Not today. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in the future. But as we speak today, I'll be thinking about Aerodrome, Kolapo Shola, Katin Gate, Alanubosa, Iyajonku GRA, Jericho, because the person next to me, even if his house is not 2 billion, might be 1 billion or 500 million. The envy will not be too much.
Right.
His children can play with my children. The security will be very safe.
Yeah, we did the same class.
Like the same class. So when a Nigerian man is thinking about building a home or buying a home, these are the things that he's considering. So it now boils down to the availability of this community space. Lagos is a very small state in Nigeria. I mean, if not even one of the smallest by landmarks, the rest is covered with water.
25%.
So now, do you know, out of the richest black people in the world, Nigeria has the highest numbers of them. We are the most populous black nations in the world. We have the richest black man. There was a time we have the richest black woman in the presence of Miss Follow. So we have Adenuga, one of the richest men in the world in Forbes. Otedola, one of the richest men in the world in Forbes magazine. So are you getting the background?
Yes, sir.
So they all want homes. And you know, as an average Nigerian want to display his influence and affluence. So he wants you to see it. People like Okewo, Okoya, a convention 200 billionaires
In Nigeria.
and they all want to live in Lagos. And when they are talking about Lagos, they are not talking about Lagos of Shomolu, Bariga, Surulere.
The happening places.
They are talking about VGC, Banana Island, Victoria Island. Maybe some new money, Lekki, phase 1, phase 2. New money, but the old money want to be a VI, VGC, Banana Island. Now tell me, when things like this begin to happen, and the basic principle of economics, demand and supply. When the demand is higher, what will happen? When the demand is higher, what will happen to the supply? And the supply is low, what will happen to the price?
Station.
Many people want to buy, but there is little to buy. It's like a large amount of people dragging small piece of land with each other. Do you think if I become a billionaire today, I don't want to have a house in Banana Island? Why? Because I know my next neighbor will be Adenuga. It could be somebody that could give me a phone number that could change my life. This is the way rich men think. So when you now say the price of homes in Nigeria, are they justifiable of the price? Where, with all these things that I've explained as one point, you will say yes.
Yeah.
Now take places like America, for example. They have Las Vegas. They have California. They have Los Angeles. They have this, they have that. But Nigeria only has Lagos. Abuja, yes. And Port Harcourt. But people who are really the city boys will tell you that it's either Lagos or nowhere. Maybe Abuja, Maitama, Dusape, Asokoro area also. Some part of Port Harcourt, but another point you should notice that if you are a celebrity, comedian, musician, entertainer, if you don't really find your foot in Lagos, because that's where your biggest market is, even for other African countries. You know that I was telling somebody one day that Sabinos, for example, who is a comedian, fantastic comedian by the way, might not necessarily be doing something special than what a guy from Kenya is doing in the area of comedy. But if Sabino posts a video today, because of the population of Nigerians, if 1/3 of Nigerians likes that video, he is already a billionaire.
Yeah.
But if the guy in Kenya is liked by the whole Kenyans, it's not even up to 1/3 of Nigeria. Do you get the maths?
So now Nigeria is winning a big deal.
It's a big market, and the market is in Lagos. Wow, for entertainers. So I've just talked about the business industrialists that are well to do. Now I brought in entertainment and celebrity to it. Now bring politicians. Bring politicians who want connections, influence, and then setting up their children and all sorts of. Everybody wants to be in a very nice place. So that makes the price what it is today. So is it justifiable with the reality of what the building they are giving? That's a question for another day. Like, is it 2 billion really worth the 2 billion? I've just explained to you the basic principle of demand and supply. When the supply is high, when the demand is high, whatever is supply will be grabbed. Take for instance now, if there is scarcity of water in Ibadan today, if it goes for like 1 month, whatever you see, you will drink. You say, I will go and boil it. Okay, maybe I should buy this water. I will manage it. Maybe we should ration our bathing. We should not bath in a morning bath. But you will say, you need water. You know you need water. That is the way it is. So basically, that is just the foundation, general overview of the way I see it, is because of less availability of the nice places are not much, and the demand for it is so big.
Thank you, sir. That's explanatory. A lot of answers and questions in an answer. Thank you, sir. So now that will bring us to our next topic. Can the Nigeria housing market, can it be compared to the rest of the world
In
terms of pricing and value?
Let me use one case scenario as an example for you so that you understand. It depends on how people think. I've been a real estate surveyor for 10 years plus, but I will tell you, for the first 5 years of my journey, I was just being a professional. I was not doing the business of real estate, delivering service to customers. I was not actually making money as a businessman from it, and I can explain. So, like your question, does Nigerian real estate matches other counterparts in terms of price and value? Okay, if you are a businessman, if you are thinking like a businessman, let me give you 2 scenarios. If you buy a flat in Dubai for $200,000, and the same you buy maybe something smaller, like they have been criticizing in Lagos VGC for the same $200,000. As long as the person in Dubai is selling his own, if he's selling in the next 10 years for $400,000, for example, and you in VGC, you are still able to sell your own for $400,000, for me, it's a business. It matches. Okay, does it now have the luxury becomes a question of debate? Does he have LED? Does he have 3D smart home? Can you open your door from your app? All those ones are just addition. But if you want to think like a businessman in the first place, I put 200,000 in Dubai. In 5 years, it will become 300,000. If I put the same 200,000 in VGC, will it become 300,000 in 5 years? If it will be, why not? I'll put it wherever it now becomes a choice of interest. But one thing that people are not saying in all this conversation is that, I'll be very diplomatic in saying this. When you sell a home in Nigeria, you sell it and you keep the whole profit. This is not the case in some part of the world. I'll just do it like that. So that means if you're a businessman, you want to think about entry point and the exit plan. It's not, what is the essence of buying in Los Angeles if the same value can buy in Lagos and I will still get the same interest after I want to exit? But if when I buy in Los Angeles and I'm going to sell in Los Angeles, I'm going to get more than if I invest the money in Nigeria. As a businessman, I will choose Los Angeles. But as a Nigerian, that's another case. You understand? So it depends on which angle you are coming from. Does it match the price of the contemporary outside? If I compare it with the UK, the Nigerian houses is even more better. For instance, £100,000 today is roughly 200 million. In this Ibadan that we are, if you want to buy a home of 200 million, you have your own compound. Probably if you are lucky, you can get a swimming pool with it, and you have a driveway. You can't get before you get a flat of £100,000, you can't get in London, you can't get in Manchester. You want to go far away north, even in Scotland.
Wow.
A flat of 2 bedroom, like a cubicle. If you go enter the kitchen, the same way you enter is the same way you come out. But from the business angle, if you want to sell that house, it is what you sell, what you buy that you will sell. That 100,000 can go to 400,000 in the next maybe 10 years. So if you buy your own 200 million in Nigeria, can it go times 10 the price? If it can, that is where the business decision comes in. But getting value for money, I will say Nigeria homes, you get all value for your money. Because one, since people are not talking about, Nigeria homes are built with blocks, bricks, and mortar. Cement blocks. American homes are largely built with planks. Ijipako, that's how they build their home. In UK, it's the same. Wow. But that boils down to you now saying the materials used in building the home, you are not being a businessman anymore. So it's two ways. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. That is like you literally like giving the answer to any other person who wants to bring to light. I think this is self-explanatory enough. And for those of our viewers at home that do not still understand, maybe you should read more about real estate. So, but then before we go forward, before we proceed, I want to ask you another question, sir. Are there opportunities that is uncontrolled increase and hike in Nigerian real estate provides for investors? I mean, no man.
Okay, you ask if there are opportunities that this brings, like this uncontrolled market price.
Yes.
Yes, there is opportunity. So in every problem, there's an opportunity. I keep saying that Nigeria is a capitalist economy. So if there is a problem, if you have the money and the solution, you can fill in the gap a bit money for it. How? So if they say a house is sold for 100 million and somebody buys it, that means there is market for that product. So why not build it and say you are a businessman? What is your own problem with the money, with the how much they are selling? It is going to add to the deficit, but that is what capitalism is all about. If the government privatize, okay, now let's take for instance the healthcare system in Nigeria. You know, it's fully private, it's privatized. If I want to see a doctor today in 5 minutes, if I have money, I can see the doctor. In places like the United Kingdom, even with the money in your pocket, you can't see a doctor in 5 minutes. Because it's a controlled system. But in Nigeria, there are many on the street alone, you can see like 10 hospitals. So that means if you're a businessman, you're thinking that wise, why not create an hospital to make money at this value service? So what are you saying in essence is that for investors, there is opportunity in every crisis. The opportunity there is that you can also build, say, by so doing you are bridging the gap in housing deficit and you're also making money at the same time. So there's opportunity in it. Opportunity in it is that if you have money, you can also build and sell. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So I'll plan to ask again. This lack of price control in the real estate industry generally, is it a Nigeria thing alone? Or is it peculiar to Nigeria alone? Or who knows? Because the Western countries, they're also going through it.
Yes. I did my projects, my MSc project in real estate management and investment in UK, my MSc thesis. The title was I still have a copy of myself. Real Estate Management and Investment in UK, a lesson for Nigerian market. So there are lessons that Nigerian market could learn from the United Kingdom market, for example. But every country's case is peculiar. You see, Nigeria is a country where people buy things in cash. And you cannot control me when I have my own money to spend. It's very hard. If you want to sell this thing for 20,000 naira and I have cash, you know, if somebody buy it on loan from you, it's 20,000. But I said today, you don't even need to wait for one paper check and all. I can give you 15,000. You might want to reconsider yourself. Say, should I take this 15,000 and cash out? So the price not control, to me, compared to the Western world, is a Nigerian thing. Why is it a Nigerian thing? Because anybody that does not borrow you money to build the house cannot tell you how much you want to sell it for. It's an hard, bitter tree to swallow. I paid the land, I bought the tiles, I bought the cement, the price, I paid the artisan, I paid the electrician, the plumber, the everything. I didn't get a 1 naira loan from the bank. Probably I sold one of my assets to get to this point. So if I discover that everything I've spent is 70 million, and as a businessman, I want to make a gain of 10%, I will add 7 million to 70 million, become 77. Right? If I want to make a gain of 10%. So if I put it at 77 million, if you like, you buy.
Right.
But the thing is, as long as people buy, that means there is the market. How many of those houses are empty? That guy that is saying is overpriced, has he ever been there 6 months and the house is still there?
Yeah. Because even with it being overpriced, people are still delving into it. People are still buying.
So, and these people that buy, when they are selling, are they making profit or not? Yes, they are making profit. If they are not making profit, they will not keep buying. So, Nigerian market differs all the indices and mathematical terms that real estate markets has always preferred in other countries, because it's a cash economy, and it will continue so until there is mortgage system being introduced. And before the mortgage system will be introduced, we must have a solid, strong economy to back it up. Because it's not the government that will be giving the mortgage, it's financial homes and the banks.
Thank you, sir. I was going to throw another question to you to wrap it up and ask what is the way forward. But I think from your last conversation, you've already given us a way forward. So that could you buttress more on this?
Okay, the way forward is the government needs to come in, okay, in the area of more financial incentive for the people that are building this thing. I kept saying 1-digit interest lane. As long as most developers, they do crowdfunding, get money from friends, family to get together. If I'm giving you 100 million, you must tell me how many percent I will have in 6 months on that as interest. Those are the things they are using to calculate how much they sell their home for. And another point is that we should encourage local made manufactured building materials.
But they are compromised.
Well, if we are making tiles here, we are making paint, we are making ceilings, we are making everything here, it will be cheaper to build. It will be cheaper. But the man started the project in January. He started with tiles when it was maybe 20,000 naira per box. But along the line, it skyrocketed because of the falling of naira to 25,000. And he has no backing loan from the bank or anybody to run to. He sold his personal belonging, maybe his car, to finish the project. He will put everything together on that property that he's going to sell, because the car he sold is going to buy it more expensive anyway. So until there are financial support for the people that are building, until there are manufacturing industries that focus on locally built, locally made building materials, tiles, paints, everything, these things will keep going on and on and on and on and free.
Thank you, sir. So we are going to throw a question to the people at home. This is self-explanatory enough. I mean, Nigeria real estate, is it overpriced? Is it not? What not? We already have the answer. I mean, for a country that there's no particular bill being passed, a self-regulatory system to help potential builders, the developers.
So no supporting system, no incentive.
So incentive, not
No loan.
So you wouldn't blame them in the area of real estate being overpriced or not. Everything all boils down to you knowing your worth, you knowing your value.
As long as people are buying, they will keep hyping the price.
So they'll give me the price, because
once there is buyer, there will be a seller.
Definitely. So I hope we have been able to answer the question. And on that note, we are going to call it a day. Thank you for always having us. See you next week. But do not forget to click the subscribe button. Follow us on all social media handles on @PropertyMax Resort Limited. We're on TikTok, we're on X, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.